Yesterday, Kyle Larson and Denny Hamlin had their second run-in of the season while fighting for the win. That resulted in a little bit bigger consequences this time around, at least for Kyle Larson. Before we get into it, before I give you my opinion on the incident that happened, this is a regular thing on the channel. When a controversial incident happens, I give my opinion on it, where I stand on it, talk about it. That's what this video is going to be about, but I thought I'd give you an update. First, I'd like to apologize for the lack of updates over the weekend. I was at a friend's wedding, and so I was pretty much occupied the entire weekend, not able to provide any updates or whatnot. That's why I didn't do an F1 recap. That's why I missed the first half of the Cup Series race yesterday. But yeah, and now it's a quick turnaround. I'm moving, so you used to see more on this wall, but it's not there. So I'll have a new setup here in a couple days. I won't be able to do anything tomorrow. If I do something, it'll be quick. It'll be in the car, because it's got to be something massive for me to do a video on. Like a Denny Hamlin going to Rick Ware Racing, or Martin Truex Jr. going to Spire. It'd have to be something like that to really get me to do a video. It wouldn't be like, oh my gosh, the entry list is out and like Christopher Bell's sponsor this week is Ream. I'm not going to do something like that. But yeah, so we're going to talk about this incident now. Once again, there are going to be changes the next week or so on the channel, just in terms of the actual look around me. But also, as I said, tomorrow I will be out. So yeah, but just want to give you that update. Apologize once again for not being as communicative as I could have been with the weekend. I should have done that like in the middle of the week last week, warned you. But here we are to talk about Pocono. Denny Hamlin was the winner. Kyle Larson finished 20th. They finished 19 spots away from each other. Why am I talking about the two of them together? Well, they had an incident on track. Denny Hamlin, coming into turn one on a restart, was ahead of Larson just a little bit, just a nose, exiting the turn. Hamlin washed up the racetrack side by side with Larson, made a little bit of contact. The hood flaps went up on Hamlin's car, and Larson, as a result, lost control of his car, was not able to keep it in line, hit the wall, came back down, tried to side draft Hamlin, and then there were like four of them in a little pack there, but then there was a quick caution, and the result after was a restart. Hamlin pulled away, was able to win, but Larson had damage from the contact with the wall and fell from fighting for the win to 20th. So yeah, this contact ended up costing Larson not only a chance at a win, but a really good finish. He is fighting for a spot in the top 10 in the points. And the higher you finish in the points in the top 10, the more playoff points you get for the Cup Series playoffs. Of course, Denny Hamlin's win moved him up in the standings, as well as got him 5 playoff points with the race win. And of course, Kyle Larson, Hamlin both have 2 wins, so they're both in the playoffs. It's not a matter of that. It's just a matter of standings, and also a matter of this has happened before. Earlier in the year at Kansas, Hamlin and Larson made contact. Hamlin hit the back of Larson's car. Larson went spinning into the wall. Hamlin went on to win, and Larson was able to recover for second. So, not all was lost, but still was not able to win and was leading off of turn 2. But still, they have had an incident this year that was fighting for the win, and it was costly in terms of the win. This one was more costly in terms of Larson did not get a good finish. So, yeah, I don't think it's any question Denny Hamlin is at fault here. He washed up the racetrack. He hit Kyle Larson. It was not intentional. But he did hit Kyle Larson in the door. Larson lost control and hit the wall. So Denny Hamlin's at fault. I don't think that's a question. Intentionally, no. But the next issue that I have with it is how Denny Hamlin responded. If you remember back in November when Ty Gibbs wrecked his teammate Brandon Jones, I was not happy with his response to that. And Ty Gibbs is a 20-year-old, or at the time I think was 19 maybe. But Ty Gibbs, after he wrecked his teammate for the win when he did not have to win to advance to the championship board, he was already locked in on points. Brandon Jones needed a win. Ty Gibbs dumped him, wrecked him, and then celebrated like nothing happened and said, like, it is what it is, like, tough luck. That's essentially what Denny Hamlin did yesterday after dooring a guy into the wall for the win, a guy who has not wronged him. Like last year when he won, he did this to Ross Chastain. It basically copy-paste. The exact same thing happened, and no one was really mad at Hamlin last year because Chastain had wrecked him 3 or 4 times up to this point. So Hamlin owed him a couple, so there's no crime there, no crime. It's completely fine. But this one, there was nothing to provoke Denny Hamlin with Kyle Larson. There was no reason for him to run him up the track, no reason to make contact with him. This one was just, oops. But Denny Hamlin never said oops. Instead, after he wins, he does a burnout across the entire front stretch, gets out of his car, hears the boos, holds up 7 fingers, waves off the crowd, whatever he did, and never admitted to being at fault. Said that he was racing, said he gave Larson room, which technically is true, but he really didn't. He pushed him out of the groove into the marbles, and Larson lost control, as I said, off of the contact. And Hamlin claims he never touched him. They touched. And then Hamlin goes into the media center, does a 25-minute press conference, and spends 25 minutes defending himself, saying he did nothing wrong, saying, I've seen Larson do that to people. Larson did it to Bubba in 2022. But Larson never did it to you. Just because Larson races someone else a little bit rough, Larson roughs someone else up, that doesn't mean you get to rough him up, right? Like, all this stuff with Chastain, like, everyone was talking crap about Chastain, like, oh, someone needs to rough him up. Well, you can't because he hasn't roughed you up yet, or something like that. So, it's just like, Larson never did anything wrong to Hamlin. And then here's Hamlin talking about, oh, Larson does this all the time. Oh, Larson did this to Bubba last year. Oh, Larson did it to someone else this other time. But he's never done it to you. So why are you acting on it? Like, it just doesn't make sense to me. So, and then Larson, rightfully pissed off, said he was pissed off. When asked if he had to race Hamlin differently, he said maybe he might have to in order to win against Hamlin. He might have to step up the dirtiness. Even Martin Truex Jr. called it dirty, the move that Denny Hamlin did. But Martin Truex Jr., as we all know, an extremely clean race car driver. And yeah, he was not a fan of the move, but he said at least he got the win. I didn't. So, but yeah, so in conclusion, to wrap this up, where do I stand on this incident? Hamlin for sure in the wrong, not intentional, and I don't like how he handled it after. He'll get on his podcast, as Larson said, and he'll explain it. And if he watches the replay and sees that he touched him, he'll apologize. He'll call Larson, but I mean, it doesn't change it, in my opinion. I mean, he spent 25 minutes, in a press conference saying, I didn't do anything wrong. And then he would cite old Larson incidents, like he's really poking the bear. So I think Larson still has an excuse to not necessarily like intentionally, right? But, if they're fighting for a win, Larson can run him up the track, pinch him in the wall, bump and run a little bit more aggressively than one might. So in conclusion, Hamlin was in the wrong basically everywhere. So Kyle Larson fans, I don't know if Kyle Larson will actually retaliate, but we will see. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Like, subscribe, all that stuff. I'll see you in the next video. I don't know when that will be, but we got 2 races this weekend. Belgium for F1, Richmond for NASCAR. And yeah, I'll see you for those. Hope you enjoy.